जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जयो गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जयो गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन। यमुना तेरा वनचारी। यमुना तेरा वनचारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जयो गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय। जयो जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय श्री सुभद्रा। जयो राधा वल्लभ श्री राधे। Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Sutarshad Shri Srimad Abhay Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai Prabhupada, Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Sutarshad Shri Srimad Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Sri Thakur Śrīla Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Janitai Gaur Premanande Hari. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter number 16, verse number 56. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Dīnandha kripanas disu. Dīnandha kripanadishu. Vishnustat prīnanam vidvan. Vishnustat prīnanam vidvan. Bhunjita saha bandhubhi. Bhunjita saha bandhubhi. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Dīnandha kripanadishu. Vishnustat prīnanam vidvan. Bhunjita saha bandhubhi. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Dīnandha kripanadishu. Vishnustat prīnanam vidvan. Bhunjita saha bandhubhi. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Any last one? Bhuktavastu cha sarveshu. Word for word. Bhuktavatsu, after feeding. Cha, also. Sarveshu, everyone present there. Dina, very poor. Andha, blind. Kripana, those who are not Brahmanas. Adishu, and so on. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, who is situated in everyone's heart. Tat, that prasad. Prinanam, pleasing. Vidwan, one who understands this philosophy. Bhunjita, should take prasad himself. Saha, with. Bandhuvihi, friends and relatives. Translation. One should distribute Vishnu Prasad to everyone, including the poor man, the blind man, the non-devotee and the non-Brahmana. Knowing that Lord Vishnu is very pleased when everyone is sumptuously fed with Vishnu Prasad, the performer of yajna should then take prasad with his friends and relatives. Next shloka. Every day from the Pratipat to Trayodashi, one should continue the ceremony to the accompaniment of dancing, singing, the beating of a drum, the chanting of prayers and all auspicious mantras, and the recitation of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the religious ritualistic ceremony known as Payavrata, by which one may worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I received this information from Brahma, my grandfather. Now I have described it to you in all detail. Next. O most fortunate lady, establishing your mind in a good spirit, execute this process of Payavrata and thus worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Keshava, who is inexhaustible. Next. This Payavrata is also known as Sarva Yajna. In other words, by performing this sacrifice, one can perform all other sacrifice automatically. This is also acknowledged to be the best of all ritualistic ceremonies. O gentle lady, it is the essence of all the austerities and it is the process of giving charity and pleasing the controller. So we have covered till verse number 60. Tomorrow onwards is 61. Purport. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param. This is a statement made by Lord Shiva to Parvati. Worshipping Lord Vishnu is a supreme process of worship. And how Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Payavrata ceremony has now been fully described. The ultimate goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashram Dharma. The Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams are meant for worship of Vishnu. Vishnu raradate pumsam nanya tattosha karanam. The Krishna conscious movement is also Vishnu Aradhanam or worship of Lord Vishnu according to the age. The Payavrata method of Vishnu Aradhanam was enunciated long ago by Kashyap Muni to his wife Aditi in the heavenly planets. And the same process is bona fide on earth even now. Especially for this age of Kali, the process accepted by the Krishna conscious movement is to open hundreds and thousands of Vishnu temples of Radha Krishna, Jagannath, Balram, Sitaram, Gaurnita and so on. Performing prescribed worship in such temples of Vishnu and thus worshipping the Lord is as good as performing the Payavrata ceremony, recommended here. The Payavrata ceremony is performed from the 1st to the 13th day of the bright fortnight of the moon. But in our Krishna conscious movement, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in every temple according to a schedule of 24 hours of engagement in performing kirtan, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering palatable food to Lord Vishnu and distributing this food to Vaishnavas and others. These are authorized activities. If the members of Krishna conscious movement stick to these principles, they will achieve the same result one gains by observing the Payavrata ceremony. Thus the essence of all auspicious activities such as performing yajna, giving in charity, observing vratas and undergoing austerities is included in Krishna consciousness movement. The members of this movement should immediately and sincerely follow the process already recommended. Of course, sacrifice is meant to please Lord Vishnu. Yajnai sankirtanai prayajanti sumedasha. In Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent perform the sankirtan yajna. One should follow this process conscientiously. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I was just informed 30 seconds before that no one is there to give class, so please bear with me. So we are ending this section now. There is 2 more verses and the chapter will be over. Actually, I should have finished the chapter, but that's fine. In which Aditi, on the instructions of her husband, is following a very powerful vrata, a sacrifice called Payavrata sacrifice, a process of worship of Lord Vishnu to attain her goal, which is that her son Indra should again gain control over heavens. And then while doing it, there is a lot of purification she goes through. And it's very interesting how Srila Prabhupada in the purport connects this whole Payavrata ceremony to our current modern day Krishna conscious practice. While reading the purport, I was thinking only Acharyas have authorities to say that. And they only have authorities because they understand the heart of the Lord. Because they understand the heart and mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotees like Srila Prabhupada can actually come to such conclusions that the exact process of bhakti, what we are following in ISKCON right now, is as powerful as this whole detailed Payavrata ceremony. And how simplified the whole process is made for us. It is just within just 5 major practices of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam regularly, having prasad and giving it to others, residing in temple or holy dham, and Nam Sankirtan or association of devotees. So these 5 activities have included practically the whole essence of this very great detailed sacrifice, which is the whole chapter practically. So we see in the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, in many occasions he has done that. He has very boldly, very authoritatively compared this Krishna consciousness movement to be the savior of humanity. And even though there are many other practices, many other processes which are available, even through scriptures of many types of worship, when we understand the effectiveness of how Srila Prabhupada has preached, that's very, very attractive to people. Just recently, we know a lot of issues are happening in Bangladesh, and many devotees, many people around the world, politicians here, there, every place, all over the world, are raising such topics and discussing. And one of the discussions they are having is, especially in Indian media, is how is it possible that teachings of Srila Prabhupada, teachings of ISKCON has reached so far and wide across the globe to an audience where no one ever thought that Krishna consciousness can be preached. And people are amazed just to know that this itself becomes a preaching tool when such topics are discussed in media, because in Kali Yuga, For people to really become God conscious, for people to really accept the authority or teachings of the Supreme Lord and develop a loving relationship, if someone with a very neutral viewpoint, with a little open, broad mind, try and see how different processes, different practices, different religious practices across the globe are functioning, anyone who is little bit intelligent and little pure at heart will figure out most of the processes cannot lead to the goal of love of Godhead. It's just not going to happen. That's why my Guru Maharaj used to always say this. He used to say, I'm not saying it because I'm a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, but I'm saying because it's a fact, Srila Prabhupada is the Guru for whole Kali Yuga. Because otherwise, many different sadhus and saints in India have made an impact within Indian audience. But to reach out to every nook and corner of the world and really change people's heart, that only a powerful Acharya who is sent by the Supreme Lord can do it. And we see in the teachings in the life of Srila Prabhupada, he has done it. How Srila Prabhupada's books have changed people's heart, how Srila Prabhupada's books have really reached to certain places where even humans could not go. One of the devotees was mentioning that this happened in Mumbai many years back. There was a devotee who was distributing books apartment to apartment, one apartment to another apartment. So this devotee just knocked the door, no one was opening, but he could hear some sounds inside, so he knew there was someone inside standing or moving around. So he kept on knocking. Suddenly a guy came out and said, what do you want? He showed Bhagavad Gita, he just snatched the Bhagavad Gita, closed the door, just went in. He's knocking, no one is opening again. He said, at least give my money. You have taken Bhagavad Gita from me, give the money back. At least give the money or give the book. No one opened. After many minutes of struggle, this devotee moved on. Little upset that his Bhagavad Gita is gone. He hasn't covered the money yet. Few months later, someone came searching for this devotee in the temple. And this devotee came and fell at the feet of, this person came and fell at the feet of the devotee who was distributing books, that you saved my life, you saved my life. He said, how did I save your life? He said, you remember you came to the apartment, I snatched the book and I went inside. He said, give me money first. You give me money, you owe me money. He said, take whatever you want. I was inside the room, I was standing on the table when you knocked. There was a rope in my neck which was hanging to the ceiling fan. I was about to commit suicide and you knocked. The only reason I opened the door was so that no one should come and save me inside. So I wanted to get rid of you, then I would commit suicide. So this guy took the book, went on the table, just threw the book on the bed in front of him, and book opened on the page where Srila Prabhupada's photo was. So this guy standing with the rope around his neck on the table, and he's just watching in front of his bed. There is a photo of Prabhupada. Suddenly, the super soul in the heart creates a curiosity. Who is this guy? He said, anyways, I have decided to die. Let me figure out who this guy is first. So he comes down, checks Prabhupada's photo, reads his name, goes to next photo. He goes to law of karma photo where human is switched with an animal, what goes around comes around, chariot photo. He starts reading Bhagavad Gita, he just cries and reads, and decides, I will not kill myself. I'll become a devotee of Krishna. Amazing. So, who can do that? Who could actually reach out to people like that if it is not for Srila Prabhupada? It is not possible. His books are very potent, and that's why my spiritual master would always say, what is the value of your 2 minutes of preaching? You just give the book, let Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara preach to the person. What is your even 1 hour lecture will do? Make sure after the lecture, books goes out. And we see, even though we are in the marathon month, even though we are in a month where book distribution is happening and Melbourne is doing great, but this spirit itself is very amazing where we try to connect people through the parampara. we try to connect people as much as possible to the teachings of the parampara. Because in reality, the purification or the transformation happens through them. Most of the speakers, or many, not most I would say, but many devotees, when they start giving lectures, I'll not exclude myself. We think, oh, it's so nice, people are following it, people are getting attracted, they are really liking the lectures. But if you remove Srila Prabhupada from the equation, who will hear the quack of a duck sitting and speaking something on philosophy? We ourselves will not know what we are talking about. So the credit goes to Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara and our spiritual masters for giving such amazing transcendental knowledge. There was a devotee, his adventure, he was known for being very adventurous. His adventure was, this is I think somewhere in European countries, was to run opposite to a fast coming train. He would run opposite to the train, and the adrenal rush he would get, the excitement he would get, was when the train is about to reach him and he is running on the same track towards the train, he would just jump off the track. So his excitement, his adventure was to see that in the eye of the driver, the fear. So that was the adventure he had. He would feel that dopamine going very high when he would do that. Running opposite to the train, and he would just jump off before the train hits him, and he would see that in the eye of the driver. So one day he was doing that same thing. He was running towards the train and he tipped over. He fell, he got hit, and he fell on the same track, and he's badly injured. Head is bleeding, body is in pain, and the train is coming towards him. Somehow he drags himself off the track, and it's like, just survived. There are moments in life where you have just survived. So it's a moment where you can make or break your life. It just some opening of some space in the head happens that time, that I have just seen death right there. You know what happened? He just turned over from the track. He was bleeding. He fell on the other side of the track. Someone had thrown Sri Ishopanishad there. So there was Sri Ishopanishad thrown on the track. He just picked up Sri Ishopanishad. He said, "What is this book doing here? Who is this guy on the front of the book?" He has no idea. He starts reading on the station itself, reading that book or wherever he was. He becomes a devotee, and later he distributed hundreds and hundreds of Sri Ishopanishad because it saved him. It saved him not just from dying, but it saved him from the craziness what he was going through. Very powerful, very powerful. And there are hundreds and hundreds of such stories of how devotees have come in contact with this transcendental knowledge, and they have gained, or lives have changed even more powerfully as compared to this Payavrata process of worship given in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And when we see all the literatures, all the books of Srila Prabhupada in his teachings is not compromising at all when it comes to Siddhanta. Prabhupada is, one very interesting thing about Prabhupada's books is there is no flattery. There is no description of any such subject matter which is there to attract the audience for the sake of popularity and numbers. Rather, it is very direct, very clear. Amongst all the worship, amongst all the deities, the most powerful, most superior worship is worship of Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada was very clear. So we hear many popular gurus, they're very hesitant to even tell the position of Lord Shiva because the popular vote sometimes doesn't like it. So they will speak in a way that people's sentiments are not hurt, and then they will not even tell who Lord Shiva is. They will not even quote the verse of Bhagavatam where Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. They will not even say. But they will speak in a way that they are also happy. The principle which Srila Prabhupada is trying to establish is very rare, it's very uncommon. In this particular section of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, we saw many different verses. The previous verse, especially the first verse we read, number 56, is very interesting. It said that one should distribute the prasad of the Lord to everyone, including poor man, blind man, non-devotee, non-brahmana, knowing that Vishnu is pleased when everyone is sumptuously fed with Vishnu prasad, the performer of yajna. And then one should take prasad with his friends and relatives. So this is a very powerful practice, which of course our temple is famous for. But even devotees at home, grahastha devotees, should do. Prabhupada used to jokingly say, in olden times, a grahastha should go out of the house and shout out 3 times, anyone hungry, anyone hungry, anyone hungry. And then come inside and take prasad. In Melbourne, of course, you can't do that. You will be declared crazy. People will tag you with something else. Even in India, you can't do it now, because your house will be house will be filled with people, and you will be hungry then. But the principle is of giving. The whole principle is of giving whatever resources we have. Especially when we see, when we're talking about doing sacrifice, someone who is in grahastha ashram, the whole principle of giving Krishna to others becomes, if that becomes the center focal point of that family, then that pleases Lord Vishnu. Devamrit Swami puts it very nicely. Devamrit Swami says, do not go to work to get. You should go to work to give. Give yourself a Krishna conscious life, and if your resources allow, give others access to Krishna consciousness. Because when people go to work to get, that same work binds. But when people go to work to give Krishna consciousness to themselves and to others, that same work becomes the cause of liberation. So, anyone who is performing any type of sacrifice, for them to do it for the pleasure of the Lord, one thing has to be included: serving other people prasad. Now prasad here literally is not, here it's meant for food, but we know what prasad in great detail means. Prasad literally means the mercy of the Lord. And that can be either food, that can be either literature, that can be engaging programs, that can be through preaching work, that can be through many means. But that is prasad of the Lord. We, in our temple especially, we distribute a lot of prasad to people. And that has made life very easy for us who are trying to preach, because most of the people, like yesterday, Harinamananda Prabhu was also mentioning, Prabhupada says, we just can't conquer Australia if there is no prasad. Thank you. But here, even in our temple, you can just pass the flower, they can just give the flower, Prabhu, they'll pass it on. Most of the devotees we have in our temple, whether it's students or family people, if this prasadam distribution stops in temple, we see a big problem happening. Just once in 40 years, we did a program for Govardhan Puja and Diwali, and this was the time where there was no prasadam was served free. Temple charged. Once ever it happened. And so many people came and said, why no free prasadam? Why no free prasadam? So many people came. Why we are charging? Why you are charging? because Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir has made people habitual. Devotees, when they go to other temples, some devotees went to LA and US, other temples, they assumed that's how ISKCON is. That's how temple is. You go and you get prasad. So one devotee went to a temple and he messaged me, Prabhu, just to have breakfast, I spent $14. I said, it's good you travel around, because your appreciation for Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir will increase multiple fold. Actually, we should be very grateful for this facility, honestly speaking. I was surprised actually. Few devotees, when I spoke to them and they said, oh, why no free prasad? I I was hoping that everyone will understand, okay, this is a very peculiar scenario, we need to cover the cost, and costs are very high. But it was Kaushalan Prabhu is sitting in front of me, is laughing, he knows exactly what happened. There is good side to it, and there is a learning to it also. The good side is that devotees feel temple as home, and they feel that yes, we have a right to question. But learning is we can do it better. We can do it better. We can really make it more efficient. And of course, from the visitors and devotees side, this appreciation should also naturally come. The costs are very, very high. If we have to move out of the temple, the costs are very, very high. One very interesting point that comes in the purport later, that is, Srila Prabhupada mentions, the Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and Ashrams are meant for the worship of Vishnu. Vishnu aradate pumsam nanyatat tosha karanam. And before that, Srila Prabhupada said something about Varnashram dharma. Where is it? Worship of Lord Vishnu is the supreme process of worship, and how Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Payavrata ceremony has now been fully described. The ultimate goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashram dharma. The 4 Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and Ashrams are meant for worship of Vishnu. Vishnu aradate pumsam nanya tattosha karanam. The Krishna conscious movement is also Vishnu aradhanam, worship of Lord Vishnu according to the age. And this Payavrata method of Vishnu Aradhanam was enunciated long, long ago by Kashyapa to his wife, Aditi, in the heavenly planets. And the same process is bona fide on earth even now. So, this Varnashram Dharma is sometimes it becomes a very debatable topic, whether are we trying to reach out and approach process of pure devotional service, which is aloof of Varnashram, or here, like Srila Prabhupada says, the whole goal, the whole purpose is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashram Dharma. So this becomes a very common question. What should we do? We don't have a Varnashram system, Varnashram society established in this world right now. And the matter of fact is, if society does not go back to the Vedic times, which is not going to happen, Varnashram system cannot be established. Then how are we going to practice and please Lord Vishnu through Varnashram Dharma? The answer is very simple. To the best we can do, to our capacities. And that's why Srila Prabhupada's establishment of Daivi Varnashram, which is not just the material designations or departmentalization of different activities and natures of people, but based on whatever best we can segregate the society based on their nature, their activities, keeping Krishna in the center is the solution to this particular question where Lord Vishnu is pleased by Varnashram system. Otherwise, practically if you see in Kali Yuga, a brahmachari who is fully dependent on society, a sannyasi who is fully dependent on society, a vanaprastha who is fully dependent on society, cannot even go and roam in most of the parts of the world and beg. They'll be either put in jail or in some places they'll be killed. Like a sannyasi traveling and begging. If Srila Prabhupada has not established ISKCON the way he is established, and if ISKCON doesn't go far and wide, it is so difficult for devotees to even get sattvic food, or to speak of prasad. Just yesterday only someone was talking about Madhukari, how in Vrindavan Babajis, they go house to house or beg for their rotis. And he said, oh, in ISKCON, you are in Western world, you can't follow that principle. I said, of course we can't follow that principle. It's not practically possible. For us, what Madhukari Babajis are doing, for brahmacharis, around the world, the Madhukari is either through prasad distribution, and you clean the plates and dishes of people, like devotees, they go to crossways. That is our form of Madhukari, our form of begging. Or book distribution. Otherwise, you go to people's house and you ask for some food, and in the same fridge there is beef kept there or whatever items are kept there. How can you even eat? So it's very impractical to establish Varnashram system now in this world. There was a brahmachari a few years back in Vrindavan temple who decided that I will travel now and I'll depend on Krishna. I will just walk and I'll go towards South India, South Indian direction from Vrindavan, and I'll depend on Krishna and I'll see how Krishna protects me. It took him 48 plus hours to get one meal, which was sattvic. It was so difficult while he was traveling. He was so hungry. So he wanted to really test out his realization. He's a sannyasi now. So he was traveling around, and then he was so hungry, so hungry. He was just traveling around. There was no food he could get to beg. Whichever place he goes, there is an issue there. And no money. He just depended on Krishna and just walked out. And suddenly someone from the 3rd, 4th floor called him. Prabhu, do you want some prasad? He said, who is calling me Prabhu? Because this is very typical ISKCON term. People call Prabhu. So he looked up and he said, yeah, please. Then he asked, what standards you have at home? Is it clean or not? He said, we are devotees. They were wearing kantimala. We just saw you in saffron cloth and we just invited you. Now, and he was thinking to himself, Krishna is protecting and providing, but I cannot do it for very long. Better let me go back to Vrindavan temple. Now, how can someone live like that when the society doesn't support? Imagine going out of India and practicing begging house to house. It just cannot happen. That's why Varnashram system, the way it was initially delineated, it's not practically possible now. For many people, they question why so much centralization of religion has happened now. Why religion is so institutionalized now. Previously, if you see, a Gurukul was there. Anyone could go and study in the Gurukul. It does not matter whether a teacher is Lord Shiva's devotee, Vishnu's devotee, Durga's devotee, or an impersonalist. A student will go to a Gurukul, study and come back. It was very decentralized. Religion and practices were not very institutionalized previously. Only when India was attacked by outside forces which had centralized teaching system, then the Acharyas came up with the idea of again centralizing and institutionalizing the Vedic system or making sanstha or institutions. Because the way, when India was attacked, especially by Mughal rule, Aurangzeb came and he burnt out many libraries to burn all the Vedic scriptures. Because the whole system was decentralized, it was not at one place. Many Brahmanas who had Vedic literatures copied at their places, they saved the scriptures. Because when he came and he burned the libraries, and there was no printing press that time, all the scriptures were burned in those libraries. There was no leftovers. But because the scriptures the whole system was decentralized, it was spread around across all the powerful Brahmanas who had manuscripts, handwritten copies of Vedic scriptures, the culture survived. Imagine now this type of centralization was there that time, nothing would have survived, actually. But if you see in current times, why powerful acharyas, they came and they created institutions? Because society doesn't support it. And because society doesn't support it, you have to create institution which protects and provides for people's spiritual need. And that's the only possibility of Varnashram to survive now. And it's hard in Kali Yuga to reverse the damage. It's not going to happen, practically speaking. We can only increase goodness in the world to a certain degree. That's why Srila Prabhupada made a statement, if 1% of people become devotees of the Supreme Lord, Satyuga will come back. If 1% population becomes pure devotees of the Lord, we'll have Satyuga back in Kali Yuga. But that itself is so unachievable and so difficult to achieve. So we are in marathon. Our only hope is let these teachings go out, change people's lives. Amazing, amazing transformation can happen. For most of the devotees, they think when you give them Bhagavad Gita, you give them, okay, give at least 3, 4, 5 people some Bhagavad Gita. They say, who will take? How can we give? No one is interested. People will not respect. People will do this. People will not take it. The problem is we ourselves create barriers where we decide where Bhagavad Gita has to go. And rather let Bhagavad Gita decide where it has to go. I'll end up with a story, amazing story actually. This devotee was distributing book sets in offices, in buildings. He was Bhagavad Gita and other literatures he had, and he was distributing. This is, I think, in either it's in Sweden or Netherlands, one of the places. And it's a Dutch devotee. He's going, and when he was in the office building, one manager complained and called police that this person is in the building without permission distributing Bhagavad Gita. So police came and this devotee quickly ran. He has a box of books in his hands and he's running on the street and police is chasing him. So he doesn't want to get caught because he didn't take permission to go to the building. So he's running and he enters. If you've been to Melbourne city, you will know there are many small lanes, many small aisles. So he enters a small lane which has a dead end and he knows police is following him. So he enters and he saw, oh my God, I entered a wrong lane. There is no way to go out. So he saw one door, he just opened the door and he entered. As soon as he entered that door, he came on a stage with a box of books in his hands. He enters the stage with a box of books in his hands, and that was a ceremony happening of the Butchers' Union. The Butchers' Union was doing a ceremony, and he enters with a box of books. And as soon as he enters, because he was a preacher, he controlled his emotions and he presented. The presenter on the stage immediately said, oh, our gifts are here. They were supposed to be in few minutes, but they came early. Okay, thank you for coming. Our gifts are here. He has a whole box of Bhagavad Gita and other books in his hands. And every single butcher in the association gets one Bhagavad Gita. He has a box. Now, who decides where the literature will go, we don't know. But if this devotee was not on street or he was not on the ground trying to do something, or if he is not trying to reach out to someone, there is no way it can go to anyone else. No, Bhagavad Gita will not go anywhere if they are kept in the storage. That is a reality. In Melbourne, that also is possible. People come to the storage and take. But the fact is, it will not go out until we go out. Or at least we try some other means, some other different tactics. This year we are trying, at least few devotees, we are going out business to business. We are trying to approach some businesses to support. And let's see what happens. But of course, so many of you are going on street, temples, marketplaces. It's amazing actually. And the results are also phenomenal. So with that thought, I'll stop. Sorry, it was a very last minute class. It was very super unprepared. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions or comments, we can quickly discuss. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned how Srila Prabhupada, he never compromised anything for his books. He just wrote what was factual according to the Shastras. So on book distribution, I once met someone and they were interested in taking the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But as we started talking and I introduced him to it, he started to say in the first canto it is written that the Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. So does that mean that other Puranas have spots? So it was kind of confusing to explain that.
Yeah, thank you. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam first canto says it's a spotless Puran. So what is that spot Bhagavatam is talking about? That spot Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is talking about is of mixture or contamination of anything which is below the standard of pure devotional service. That's why Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is Amal Puran. Mal means contamination. Amal means no contamination. So the contamination Śrīmad Bhāgavatam has completely kicked out is of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Mundane religiosity, sense enjoyment, making money where Krishna is not in the center, and finally for one's own peace, one aims for liberation. So that is completely kicked out of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So what other Puranas have done or encouraged their readers or listeners is that they encourage dharma, artha, kama and moksha. But Śrīmad Bhāgavatam encourages pure devotional service and nothing less than that. Dharma pravajita kaitavatra parma nirmatsaranam satam. It just kicks out all lower understandings of religion. And if you see, what is the most famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita where Bhagavad Gita ends? Correct. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. Give up all forms of religion and surrender unto me. And Śrīmad Bhāgavatam begins from there. So nothing which is below that standard is allowed in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. That's why it's very powerful scriptures. Very powerful book. And one can even explain this particular point when you're trying to give out Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to someone. That all our life, even if we have been little religious, even if we have some scriptures at home, we have no access to something which is talking only about pure devotional service and glorification of the Supreme Lord. So have Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the crest jewel of all the Puranas. Is it okay? Anything else? Prabhuji.
Yeah, these verses are very interesting verses because it's describing the process we're actually following here in ISKCON at the moment, and Bhagavatam is Purana, so tells stories about process they did in different ages. You know, all the processes in very different ages were quite different, and sometimes there's some confusion. You hear a story about process people followed in different ages, like going to the forest and doing Astanga yoga and things which we're not doing now. So this is probably every devotee should learn these verses, and it's very good, good to quote actually. I thought it's very
thank you for making amazing. That comment. Isn't it interesting that how confusing it would have been for us when we go through all these different processes, that what are we supposed to do if it is not for Srila Prabhupada? It will be very confusing. Imagine this temple where people read the same Śrīmad Bhāgavatam without the purports, and they choose what type of process they want to follow. Someone is standing, some 10 boys are standing in the pond with one leg, and then they must be doing some tapasya. Someone will be doing yoga in Prasadam hall. Someone will be trying to do some other vrata. Half of the temple will be filled with different types of yagyas. It will be chaos. That's why if it is not for Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara, we have no clue what to do and attain the same result. And that is the glory of Srila Prabhupada. We can't thank him enough. We really can't thank Srila Prabhupada enough for what he has given us and the clarity he has given us. That what in the simplest and most powerful, effective way we are supposed to follow. Just imagine, if people try and imbibe this Payavrata sacrifice now and try to do something little bit here and there, it will be so difficult. It will be very difficult. Thank you.
Just one other comment I thought of. Sometimes it's mentioned about, in class, devotees mention about when you have to go outside the house and call out anyone who's hungry. I mean, that's not possible, but they often say what you can do to the essence of that process to feed hungry people. And so you can support crossways, like help cut the vegetables or do some serving or whatever, because that's what we're doing to feed these hungry people. We have this process which is allowed by the city council and all these things.
Yes.
So you can support Crossways if you wanted the essence of that
Yes.
idea, yeah.
This particular month, we are in very, very special need. Whoever is listening, we are struggling to find volunteers for many services. As Prabhu mentioned in the comment, please reach out to kitchen managers. A lot of devotees have traveled, and then our struggle is who will cut vegetables for Crossways. But there is hardly people there to help for different kitchen services. Brahmanas are gone. Everyday messages are coming, and kitchen manager is requesting, please someone come. So please come and help us distribute prasadam better, especially this month where a lot of devotee volunteers are away. Thank you. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।